Hello friend, welcome or welcome back to the channel. I'm Crystal, aka The Wholesome Witch, and today we are talking about harvest season. And I'm extra excited because harvest season begins this Saturday, which is August 1st, which is the festival of Lughnasadh or Lammas if you follow the Wheel of the Year. And the start of harvest season is one of my favorite times because harvest season encompasses three of my favorite festivals, and it encompasses my favorite time of year, which is autumn, and then the festivals are Mabon and Samhain. So it's just a whole 3-month journey that I love to go on every year, and there's such a magical air this time of year when we go through the second half of summer and begin to shift into the autumn season, because autumn season's magic. It just is. But harvest season, which is often I find associated with autumn, starts in the summer and midsummer. We're only halfway through summer, so the second half of summer is harvest season. And it doesn't mean it's going to get dark and cold tomorrow. However, for myself and some others out there, I'm sure, I always tend to start to shift towards fall energy in August. I cannot help it. I'm so excited for September to come. I'm so excited for the autumn equinox to arrive that my mind is already in autumn when it's still summer. And I know some people hate this, my summer babies, my summer lovers. It's just where my energy seems to transition naturally once we pass the first harvest festival on August 1st. And I find it to be such an uplifting, motivating, just vibrant time where it's still very much summer, so there's so much life around us in nature, and watching that transition from the fullness of summer into the beautiful colors and feelings and quality in the air of autumn, to me is just, it's magic. It's the most magical time of year. And because kitchen witchery and house magic is such a big part of my practice, it's also the time of year when I feel like leaning into those things more. And it's one of the reasons I wanted to put my Kitchen Witch workshop out on August 1st on Lughnasadh, because to me it just signals the season that is so abundant in the kitchen and so joyful that I feel it's just uplifting vibes all around. And leave me a comment and let me know if you also start shifting into like autumn mentality in August, even though it might be sweltering hot outside where you live. But your mind, you can't help it, you just kind of go there. Leave me a comment and let me know, because I know there's a lot of you out there. I'm definitely not alone. So harvest season is, it's the 3 months of the year when the crop harvests are starting to be brought in, and Lughnasadh was traditionally the day that the first grain was cut. And it is about bringing in the crops and preparing our food for the darker months ahead. Not quite as much as it used to be back in the day, but still. The energy of harvest season is so much more than that. And it's really an amazing time to take stock, to take notice of everything that you've grown this year in your life. Like, what has happened? What has changed? What things have you tended to? It's also a great reminder that growth happens slowly, growth happens in cycles, and it's something that happens gradually over time. And this can be reflected in our life as well as a wonderful reminder that things don't need to grow overnight. It is a process. It is about tending and caring for things and showing up and taking your time. Nature doesn't rush when it's transitioning between seasons, or the flowers blooming don't think that they have to do it overnight. A lot happens before we start to see them really bloom and blossom in the spring and summer. It's a time when we can harvest what we have consistently nurtured so far over the last year, or even since January, even just throughout the spring and summer. When we reach a goal, when we get closer to manifesting something that we really desire, that's a form of harvesting. And this is true in all areas of our lives. It's true in relationships, it's true in business, it's true in health and our spiritual practice. And sometimes I think we're so focused on the end goal or the next goal that we forget to celebrate how far we've come. We forget to celebrate where we are in this present moment, which, if you asked yourself 5 years ago, where do you want to be in 5 years? Maybe it's exactly where you are right now. And we don't often take time to appreciate the moment we're in or the goals we've accomplished, the tiny steps along the way that we have walked through. And I think this time of year is a really important reminder to celebrate those moments, celebrate where you are, celebrate how far you've come, celebrate every tiny win that you had. And harvest season really shows us that your life is full of abundance. Our lives are full of abundance. Even in difficult times, hard times, times when it doesn't seem like there's a lot of abundance around, if you open yourself up to it and think about your days and your life, there's abundance there. And the gratitude, the appreciation for it should be there as well. And it's just a wonderful time of year for us to remember these things and really try to invoke that joy and celebration that we deserve. We deserve that in our lives. We deserve to experience it. We deserve to have it. So in terms of kitchen magic and house magic, if you love these elements of a spiritual practice or magical life like I do, this season just calls for it. You imagine just bringing all that abundant energy that is existing in nature right now into your home. You feel into the gratitude for having a home, for having these four walls, for being able to live a magical life in whatever space you might be in, even if it isn't your perfect home, you know? And the farmers markets are so abundant and bountiful and amazing this time of year, and there's so many fresh herbs to pull from and so many like summery recipes we can still play with because it's still summer. It's a great time to look at cooking as not a chore but as a ritual. If you're used to practicing kitchen magic or kitchen witchery, it's a really wonderful time to kind of hone those skills and develop an appreciation for the food that we nourish ourselves with, instead of just thinking of it as something you have to do or a chore that has to get done. You have to spend so much time cooking in the kitchen, blah, blah, blah. You can kind of shift your mindset this time of year and lean into the bountiful seasonal produce that we have this time of year, and to the vibrant energies that can bring into your kitchen and into your home. And because we're in harvest season, it's a great time to really think about and connect with where your food comes from. We don't usually think about it, not in modern day times. We just go to the grocery store and we grab all the things we need and we go home. And there's not that appreciation for it that used to exist because it's so bountiful, and we have foods in our stores from all around the world, which, you know, that never used to be the case. So I think we lose sight about appreciating the access we have and appreciating that we can experience all these different foods. And it's such a great time to really focus on seasonal eating because the local produce is bountiful. I do try and focus on seasonal foods as much as I can. And this time of year is just the best for taking advantage of what grows in your area. Bread is such a big part of harvest season, and I always like to, or I find myself always wanting to do things like make muffins or, you know, my own granola bars or oatmeal cookies, these kinds of things that are so symbolic of the season and so connected to the season. And it's an organic, intuitive thing. It's not a purposeful thing. It's just a place where my mind naturally goes. Yeah, if you haven't considered house magic or kitchen witchery, harvest season's definitely the time to lean in and explore, learn about it. In my humble opinion, it is a very enriching element to your spiritual practice and magical living in general. It is a really wonderful way to just romanticize and work with energy and create a better, more uplifted living situation and atmosphere and just overall good vibes. And I hate to use that because it's so overused these days, good vibes. But for me, those kinds of practices really do bring that energy into my home. So I always love to celebrate the first harvest. I love to celebrate Lughnasadh on August 1st. That's in the Northern Hemisphere, by the way. If you're in the Southern Hemisphere, Lughnasadh Lammas is going to be on February 1st. But I always love to celebrate the day and kind of honor this transition in nature. And some things I like to do, I do like to bake something. I don't live somewhere super hot, so I can still bake in the summer here in Scotland. If you do live somewhere hot, maybe consider making like a no-bake treat instead. So like I like to do muffins or scones very often on this festival day, but maybe you want to do like no-bake oatmeal cookies or energy bites. I always like to have sunflowers in my space on the first harvest. Sunflowers to me, just nothing says first harvest and August like sunflowers. I really love to go to farmers markets as much as I can this time of year because they're just incredible. If you're lucky enough to live close to one, do go and take advantage, support your local farmers, and enjoy all the seasonal local produce that your area has to offer. I always like to do a seasonal simmer pot for lughnasadh as well, and I focus it on abundance and gratitude. If there's two words for me that represent this season, harvest season, it's abundance and gratitude, so I really focus on those. I like to do a house cleansing. I like to do a house cleansing on all the festivals. I also like to do card reading on all the festivals. So I would do a card reading that would last me from lughnasadh on August 1st until Mabon. So until we get to the autumn equinox. So it's about 6 weeks. I like to do that for guidance for those weeks ahead. So that's like a festival thing that's always part of my practice. I also always do a special journal session that changes depending on what my focus is at that time in my life, but it's often a future self journaling session where I imagine myself at the next festival and what my life is going to look like and what I will have done or experienced or accomplished or whatever it might be. I like to prepare a seasonal meal on lughnasadh as well, or the first week of harvest season, just to welcome it in. And it changes. My baking habits are pretty consistent with the muffins and scones, but my meal depends. It depends on how I'm feeling. So I will definitely use seasonal local produce though with whatever it is I'm making. And I just make something for myself and my partner. You could make something for your friends or your family or just yourself if you're on your own that day. But just a way to connect with the energy of the season and to connect with nature. Speaking of, I always like to spend time outside on this festival day because usually the weather is pretty nice around this time, and I might go for like a walk or do like a picnic outside or just get like an iced coffee and drink it outside. Simple things, right? Like ways to welcome the season. It doesn't need to be anything too crazy or complicated or anything you need to buy a bunch of stuff for. It can be whatever feels natural for you, whatever feels organic for you this time of year. Like, what do you like to do the beginning of August? What does the start of harvest season mean to you? And what is like, say, one special way you can mark the day? And I also feel harvest season is such a great time to just reflect on what you are harvesting in your own life currently. So for me, I am trying to harvest more abundance in certain areas of my life and just be more open to it and receptive to it. I'm harvesting my new book, which is on pre-sale and comes out September 24th here in the UK, so right at the start of autumn. I have some business goals that I will be hopefully harvesting and continuing to work on and tend to as we move through this harvest season. And I always like to focus on what I'm grateful for personally as well. This can be, you know, the time I have living in Scotland. Not everybody gets this opportunity, so it's something I'm very grateful for. Grateful for, you know, our little house we're able to be in right now, and for my kitties, and for my partner, my son. And I like to reflect on those things at this time of year. And I like to reflect as well on the lessons, because I mean, we're just past halfway through the year, so it's a nice kind of time to check in as well and just see, what have I learned this year? Like, what lessons have come my way? We all have lessons coming to us all the time, way too often, way too much. There are points in life where I'm like, okay, universe, no more lessons, I'm done. I do like to kind of take this time and reflect on what's happened throughout the year and what I have learned and how I have grown in a personal way since January. So this is something that I'll often do like a journal entry about as well. Just writing down, reflecting on these kinds of things, which is always a really great exercise for just clarity and inner wisdom, really, and just tapping into that inner voice that sometimes we don't always listen to. it can also be like writing like that can also cause little like breakthroughs or epiphanies and just have you thinking about things in a totally different way. So during the reflection, like maybe the year hasn't gone just how you wanted. Maybe you're not where you would have wanted to be by now yet. But I think it's a good time to reflect, take notice, acknowledge where you are, where you thought you'd be, but also to just give yourself grace and have patience that, you know, the year's not over. You still have time, lots of time, even to reach, you know, goals you wanted to reach this year. There's still 5 months left. I'm trying to be kinder with myself in this as well, because things this year for me, which I think I mentioned in my last vlog, have gone much slower than I would have liked. It's just the way things have rolled out, the way things have happened. And, you know, we have years like that where things just don't move the way we want, at the pace we want. And, you know, by mid-year or even the end of the year, we're not where we thought we would be. It's all a process and it's life. We're all living it, you know, as best we can. And I'm trying to be kinder with myself in that regard as well. Just don't sweat it if you're not exactly where you thought you'd be by this point. It's okay. You're good. You're doing great. I know you are. And along that line, like, harvest season isn't just about harvesting crops, right? It's about harvesting so many things. You can harvest confidence. You can harvest friendships. You can harvest courage, consistency, habits. Not everything we harvest is going to be physical. It's not going to be something we can necessarily hold in our hands. It can be things within ourselves, energies within ourselves. So it's a great moment to think about, what do you want to harvest in your life that maybe you haven't yet? Or what in your life have you been harvesting that you know is worth it? That you know you want to keep tending to and caring for and showing up for. Maybe you want to harvest more confidence and you have daily habits and rituals, affirmations, what have you, that you do and you show up for those because it's something that's worth it to you. Maybe you're harvesting more self-love, or you're trying to harvest just better healthy habits, and all these things are just one day at a time, one step at a time, right? So it's a really nice time to two things: either write down things that you want to harvest. So think about it, reflect on it. What do you want more of in your life right now? And work on harvesting that as we move through harvest season and then in towards winter and the end of the year. Second one, it's also a great time to just reflect on, the things you have been harvesting, and have a think and decide what of those things is actually still resonating with you. What is still feels really aligned and really good, because maybe you had goals at the beginning of the year or even the beginning of summer that you've been harvesting and working on and tending to, but maybe now things just feel not quite in sync. It's a good moment to take stock of that and be comfortable releasing what you're ready to let go of and just what you've decided isn't worth your energy or your time at this moment in life. So those are two things I like to do this time of year as well, because there's so much goodness to harvest in life, and it's nice to take moments to reflect on what we want to release, and, you know, the things that we really want to see grow in our lives. If you love harvest season as much as me, please let me know in the comments, because I'm just so excited for it, and it happens in a few days, or it starts in a few days, and it's just having me feel really positive this week and really motivated and joyful. Yeah, if you're on the same page as me, like, leave a sunflower or something in the comments, and hello, new friend. I'm going to kind of start to close out the chat here, but I thought it would be nice to close with like a little harvest reflection. So just to go through a couple of questions that are really great to ask yourself this time of year. So I have 5 questions, and if you want to write them down, and then maybe you can answer them later, or just reflect on them mentally, or journal about them later, whatever suits your fancy. So question 1. What are you harvesting this season? So just think about what I was just saying. What are you harvesting this season? What are you continuing to tend to and show up for day to day? Question 2. What have you already been growing this year in a slow and steady way? What are the things that you are starting to notice to really take shape? Question 3. What deserves celebrating? There are things. You have things that deserve celebrating right now. I know you do. I know you have had little wins this year, however subtle or small Or maybe you've had really big wins this year, and that's amazing too. Think about it. Think about things that have happened, and even if they're tiny wins or feel tiny to you, and they might not actually be tiny, every win should be celebrated. So think about that. Question 4, what are you grateful for? So just make a list. I love doing a gratitude list. And it's something that you can carry with you and keep with you for inspiration, for a reminder for on a day that you're not feeling particularly grateful. Maybe write down 5 to 10 things that you're grateful for. And number 5, what intentions are you setting for harvest season and the upcoming autumn season? It's a great time to set maybe 1 to 3 new intentions for yourself and have that renewed sense of motivation and excitement and things to work towards as we move towards the darker part of the year. So my friend, I am going to leave it at that today. I just wanted to have that little chat because this is just one of my favorite times of year, and you'll see it in my upcoming content. I love harvest season and I love autumn, so I have a lot of fun things I'm going to bring you. I know I took a break this year. I actually took 2 breaks this year, and a third one is not happening. So get ready for all the very enthusiastic autumn season content, harvest season content coming your way. And I would really love if you would leave me a comment and let me know, like, what's your favorite part of this time of year. I always love to hear from you, so I always appreciate your comments so much. They always just make my day. And as usual, I will leave my socials down below in case you want to follow along anywhere else. I will leave my pre-order link for my new book called This Is Your Year, which is just perfect for this chat, isn't it? Because we're chatting about harvest season and it's a seasonal magical manifestation book. So I'll leave that link down below. I'm also going to leave my Kitchen Witch Workshop link down below. It's on pre-sale right now. It's going to be released on August 1st as a little harvest season gift for yourself if that is an area that you want to explore more. I'll probably also leave a couple of like blog post resources for the festival for lughnasadh in case you're curious to learn a little bit more, because this chat wasn't really about lughnasadh specifically, it was about harvest season in general. So I also did a lughnasadh vlog last year where I went through some of my celebrations with you guys, so I think I'll leave that link down below as well if you want to check it out. Yeah, I want to thank you so much for joining me today and for staying right till the end. I appreciate you so very much, and I am sending you many blessings for the most magical, abundant harvest season ahead. And I will be seeing you very soon.